All right, let's get into more of these articles that I found. Negro Brute proves to be prominent white Kentuckian. Lexington, Kentucky, October 19th. Following the publishing of reports throughout this section, inflammatory articles under heads Black Brute assaults little white child, mob forming to lynch Negro Brute when caught, and other such headings. The articles giving the story of a small white girl who stated that a Negro had criminally assaulted her while she was playing near her home here, and following the arrest of a dozen Negro, two of whom narrowly escaped the hands of a white mob that scoured the country for miles around. The thorough grilling of the white child by the police officers resulted in the little girl finally admitting that no Negro attacked her, but that a white man aged 50 years and a member of one of the most prominent white families of this section was the one who assaulted her. The man, whose name has been suppressed by the papers, was rushed to Frankfort upon orders of Circuit Judge R.C. Stoll for safekeeping. The girl stated that she had placed the blame on a Negro because the white man had threatened her with death should she tell of the relations with her. The mother found her in her tattered, soiled clothing and asked her what happened. She then proceeded and stated that a Negro assaulted her. Too many articles I found that look just like this. Let's go find another one. The year 1900, August 22nd in Akron, Ohio. A white mob sought to lynch an alleged Negro rapist. It sacked the gun store for weapons, surrounded the city building where the Negro was supposed to be confined. It set it on fire, raised the cry of "kill any N-word," and killed 2 or 3 people in indiscriminate discharge of weapons. The city hall and the adjoining building were burned. The year 1900, September 3rd. A white man in New York thought he saw a Negro who had been fighting with him a few days before. He set out to assault him, and a white mob instantly gathered and yelling for an N-word to lynch, set upon unoffending blacks wherever found. Some were pulled from streetcars and beaten. Some were dragged from their houses. Several, including a little colored girl, were knocked down and trampled on. The year 1900, November 16th. Negro boy accused of rape was taken from the jail at Linden, Colorado, by a white mob of several hundred, chained to a post made of iron rail and burned to death. The several stages in the proceeding being reported to the whole country as they went on in telegraphic bulletins. Negro burned at stake, Greenville, Texas. A mob of 6,000 persons burned Ted Smith, a Negro, on the public square here Tuesday morning. The Negro allegedly attacked, a white woman, Miss Viola Delancey, near her home, 3 miles west of Greenville, the day before. Let's just show that this was a common practice of them. The fake cry of grape. In another column of The Age, we print an article from Montgomery, Alabama, which tells of 2 Negroes accused of criminally assaulting a white woman, being later freed of the charge upon the admission of the woman in question that she and her husband had falsified. The true story of the affair is that the woman and her husband, H. Calhoun by name, robbed the Negroes and then threatened to set up the cry of criminal assault if an alarm was given. The report in some manner got out that the assault had been made upon the white woman and that the Negroes barely escaped lynching. Innocent Negro believed lynched. Arrest promised in slaying of man by mob near Jacksonville, Florida, August 25th. Arrests were promised shortly by Henry Lithinol, county detective, tonight after an investigation of a lynching last midnight of Ben Hart, Negro, whose bullet-ridden body with the hands mangled was found in a ditch along Kings Road, 3 miles from Jacksonville. After residents had seen several white men pursuing a Negro down the road and firing at him. Hart was struck 6 times by pistol bullets. Information gathered by the investigators today led them to believe that the mob members had lynched an innocent Negro. The year 1901, February 26, at Terre Haute, Indiana. A special needs Negro, or a demented Negro, George Ward, who had killed a white girl, was taken from the jail by a mob and burned at the stake within the limits of the city. Thousands of people witnessing the performance and struggling afterwards to obtain relics of the affair in the shape of charred fragments of flesh. Lots of articles of these people going through the burning body or going through the ashes of the body they just burned at the stake and taking bones, taking teeth, taking ears as relics. 1901, January 15th, at Leavenworth, Kansas, a Negro, Fred Alexander, accused of assaulting a white girl, was taken from jail by a white mob, removed to the scene of the crime near the center of the city, and there burned at the stake in the presence of 8,000 people. He was protesting his innocence to the last. Columbus, South Carolina, July 15th, innocent Negro lynched. Burned alive. Major Emery said that Cotton was thought to be the instigator of a cremation at Scotland Neck. He had a Negro burned alive in a furnace for some trivial act. Sheriff J.W. Williams of Southampton went to Emporia today to get some information from Cotton about a crime, but he arrived too late. Cotton was dying. Cotton is thought to have been guilty of 6 or 8 murders and several dozen burglaries. Never saw his day in court. The Negro Massacre at Atlanta. A local newspaper, by false reports of Negro outrages upon white women, stirred up a murderous white mob which wantonly assassinated a score or more of peaceable, decent, and law-abiding Negroes. This reign of white terror lasted long enough for a few practically helpless Negroes to fight back and kill a white man and 2 in self-defense. Now note the official action. The grand jury indicts 60 Negroes for murder and 16 white men for riot. We got charged for self-defending ourselves for murder. They got charged for murdering us for rioting. If you haven't heard of the Ocoee Massacre in Florida, you should look it up. A white mob threatened black voters to essentially not show up and that you're not going to be voting in this town. And one man disobeyed their threats. And this is the result of what happened. It was declared that Moses Norman, whose attempt to vote after the local Ku Klux Klan had warned all Negroes that they would be killed if they attempted to vote, had neither paid his poll tax or registered. A mob attacked Norman at the polls at Ocoee, beat him severely, and demanded that he go home. Evidence shows that the mob formed in larger numbers, went to the colored settlement, set fire to it, cremating all the colored men, women, and children who were in the buildings. 18 homes, 2 churches, 1 schoolhouse, and a lodge hall were burned. When the Negroes attempted to flee from the burning buildings, they were either shot down or driven back into the flames. Among those burned to death were a colored mother and her 2-week-old infant. It is said that in the community that between 8 and 10 whites were killed, and the total number of Negroes killed will never be known. Now, this guy went down there posing as a potential land buyer, and he was asking the locals around there essentially what happened. He was an investigator, but he was pretending to be somebody who was interested in buying land in the town. And this is a story that he got from it. All because you guys refused to not vote. Now, you can find all these articles on chroniclingamerica.net. All you have to do is type up lynching, type up Negro Massacre, type up Black Town burned, type up Negro school burned, Negro lynched, Negro burned at stake, and you'll find thousands and thousands of articles just like this one. It's sad, but this is what they call critical race theory. Your ancestor stories need to be told.